Is it acceptable to have an enormous cockapoo themed mug of tea?
Listen, you have whatever makes you happy. That's part and parcel of Claritee Circle, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, this is our second Claritee Connect, introducing yet another fabulous partner that we have partnered up with. I am going to ask you a variety of different questions, Ruth, and I would love to hear a little bit more, as I'm sure so would our cohort of members, community, other partners, and find out a little bit more about your services, what you do and why you do it. I think that's always a great one to start with. Why do you do what you do?
Yeah, that is a great question. And it goes back a bit. So I'm 50 now. I feel like quite proud that I've made it this far. But in my 20s, I was really poorly and I had really bad IBS. Sorry, I'm straight in talking about the poo. Is that all right?
Listen. It's no holes barred. It's like
No,
let's just be open, honest, and let's get it all out there.
100%. So I was living in London, trying to make my way in the great big smoke. But I had IBS essentially, and I needed to know where the nearest loo was all the time. I felt dreadful, like my mental health was not great, which is obviously not brilliant when you're sort of 25 and, here I am in my first big job and I'm going to, slay the world, actually feeling like rubbish. And basically, I'd been to every consultant under the sun. Every doctor, like literally all the investigations, cameras everywhere. And just to be told, there's nothing wrong with you, you just got to live with it. And I just was like, this can't be the case. I mean, if I was maybe like 95, I might accept this, but no. So basically, I, as many people in this field did, I started doing my own research, learned absolutely shed loads about gut microbiome, learned loads about all sorts of different things, and long story short, fixed myself. And it was from there that I was like, hang on, there's something in this. There's something in this. What's going on here? And then I was still working in a complete different sector. Well, I was in the food and drink industry, ironically. So I was helping lots of companies like Muller and Unilever and Sainsbury's and all sorts of companies like that. But then I basically, as I got older and faced more challenges with different health situations, every time I always came back to looking at what's going on really with my body, like what is really driving why this isn't working for me. So for example, when I couldn't get pregnant, and when my mental health started to go a bit dodgy again, I started to go, hang on. So I kept doing more of these just for interest courses, just to help myself. And then I got to the point where I was like, right, I can't find somebody to support me that feels like they're me. Everybody I would find I would feel judged by, or I would feel like I wasn't quite, wasn't skinny enough, or I wasn't pretty enough, or I wasn't perfect enough, or I wasn't ever going to be able to eat as well as they did, and all of that stuff. So I thought, well, hang on a minute, I need to do this myself. So that's basically when I went back to college, obviously while still working full time, etc., so that I could actually qualify and put all of that just for interest information into something that meant I could actually help other people. So that's essentially why I do what I do, because I cannot bear to have people be told that whatever's wrong with them is just something they're just going to have to live with, because the vast majority of the time it isn't just something you need to live with.
No, what an amazing story.
Yeah,
No, genuinely, firstly, thanks for being so vulnerable and sharing, honestly and openly. But I can't imagine, being 25 years old and being told that and having to then go off and basically do what you did to basically turn your life around, but to do all the research and then to be empowered to then want to create a business that's helping other people is even more fabulous. And that's, why I'm so pleased to have you as part of Claritee Circle, because you're a perfect partner. You're a perfect partner because it's somebody with lived experience. It's somebody then wanting to use their journey, their lessons in helping other people. And it's amazing. It's inspiring though, isn't it? It's inspiring for other people.
Well, it's sort of selfish as well, to be honest, because let's face it, I only came to it because I couldn't live as I was living and not, and I'm not for a minute suggested it's this sort of linear thing, or I read a book, I did a course, and then bing, I'm healthy again. But that whole connection between all the different systems in our body and how usually the symptom is so far away from actually the root cause. And yet,
Yeah.
unfortunately, our NHS is amazing. And crikey, if I'm knocked down on the road tomorrow, I don't want a nutritional therapist, I want a paramedic. But frankly, they only have 5 minutes to talk to you in a GP appointment. And there is absolutely no way in the world that you are going to get a joined up sort of look at all of your different bodily systems approach in 5 to 10 minutes.
No, and I think that's so key, isn't it? That basically the NHS is under mass pressure, and it's it's no fault of their own, and it's no fault of their own, and none of us are saying that there isn't amazing people within the NHS. There is, but they're under a huge amount of pressure, and it's almost like, for me, I look at it from a business perspective, and I go, well, what as a business can we be doing differently to look after our staff, to basically empower our staff and to help our staff to find different ways of looking after themselves and empowering themselves. And the sort of stuff that you are doing and that you are delivering is so important in that sphere, should we say, because if you think about it, and I always like to compare in analogies. So like with a car, we have cars serviced all the time. We make sure we put good petrol, oil, we have to put the AdBlue in if it's diesel, etc., etc. We look after it. And when it comes to your body, and I think probably for me, the hardest lesson I learned was I was always great at looking after other people. So my son, my family, everybody else, I was always great at looking after. And who is the person that comes last? And 99% of the time, it's ourselves that is the person that comes last. We can be great at feeding the kids good, healthy, balanced food and making sure they're having, whatever it's supposed to be, the 5 a day, etc., etc. But then actually, who takes the time and the effort to look after you? And this is the piece of the puzzle that I think so many of us are missing. And I think it's like, that's a bit in terms of that we end up becoming last, don't we?
Absolutely. And I think, the body is like amazing, right? Like it can carry on going for a very long time on a very low battery. I love an analogy too. And I often talk about, if you imagine like when you get a brand new phone, right, the battery life's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even once you get onto the red, you've still got quite a while actually in a brand new phone. And that's kind of what your body's like. It's a bit like a brand new phone. Like the battery life is amazing. But once that phone sort of gets just a little bit older and more, you've bashed it around and you've dropped it a few times and, probably dropped it down the loo or something. That bit, once it's on the red, it goes really quickly. And that's kind of like what happens with your body. And so I try to get to people before they're on the red, which doesn't always happen. And I do get some people who, have had to get to the red to put themselves first. But it's so hard. And also I think people you don't connect the dots very easily yourself. So you think, well, I'm super stress resilient, or, there's nothing, I don't know, for example, this skin condition or, my acid reflux. It's got nothing to do with my lifestyle. And it's like, well, it'll just be because I'm intolerant to a food, or it's something I shouldn't eat. And it's like, no, it's probably not. It's actually your whole digestive system is up because of the level of stress in your life and you haven't put yourself first. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. It is really difficult to do that. But I think, to be honest, because in my one-to-one clinics, I work with people over quite a long period of time, like a minimum of 6 weeks, but usually 3 months or more. And that accountability that they get just from knowing that not because I'm judging them, not because I'm going, oh, crikey, look at that week, 3 Domino's and a McDonald's, what were you thinking? Not that at all, but because they know they're going to talk to me just for half an hour that week. There's something switches in their brain that goes, right, I've told Ruth that I want to feel this way, I want to feel better, I want to get rid of whatever XYZ problem I have. she's told me how to get there, so I'm going to make an effort to do it.
Yeah. And
And
it's
so,
accountability, isn't it? It's
oh,
accountability.
yeah, and it's not in the traditional sense in that I'm not there analysing every last calorie in their diet. I don't even talk about calories. I'm not there going, oh, a bit too much wine on Wednesday, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not that at all. But it's that that is when people know they've put them. I so often get people say, I am finally going to put myself first. And one of those things I'm doing is working with you.
And that's, for me, that is the biggest thing, because I learned the hard way in the fact that unless we are able to look after ourselves, we are no good to anybody else, because everybody else doesn't get the best version of us, and everybody else is literally, if we're running on empty, we're no good to anybody.
No, absolutely not. And, I don't always get that right either. I'm very mindful of it, but we don't always get it right. But I get it right a lot more than I don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And I'll be
Yeah,
honest, it always fascinates me learning new stuff. And I think that what you're doing is so intuitive. And basically, to your point, the body is an amazing piece. It's just like fabulous. But, it's like anything. It performs on what you put in, and what, you get out what you're basically putting into it. So I, as somebody who is always intrigued, want to ask you, what are your sort of hard stops, non-negotiables that you do sort of on a consistent basis to make
yeah.
sure that, because I just want to ask you that question. What are your non-negotiables?
Oh, and I do have some. It's really interesting. So, well, the first one actually, if I think about going through the day, first one actually isn't nutrition related, but it does impact on it, which is literally daylight within half an hour of waking up at least for 5 minutes. I mean, I genuinely sit in the garden, whatever the weather, and drink my tea. Like it's not radical, but the reason for that is because the circadian rhythm is so linked to knowing that you've got daylight. Now, obviously, through the winter it's a bit tricky because sometimes it don't feel like there's much daylight, but literally just poking your head out the door, even if it's tipping down with rain. So that's one of my non-negotiables. Because that impacts on sleep so much, like that night. So that's one of them. The second one's so boring now because everyone's talking about protein, but I cannot tell you the difference it makes. Is I will religiously have at least 30 grams of protein with my breakfast. So it sounds so boring, but the reason is if you start the day on a blood sugar roller coaster, which you will do if you don't have any protein or fat for breakfast, then the rest of your day is going to be more stressful. You're creating more inflammation in your body. You're not going to have as much energy. Your cognitive function won't be as good. Like literally everything sort of hangs off breakfast. You can sort of almost get, it's still better to also have a good, decent lunch. But if you've had a decent breakfast with protein in it, then you're going to get, and that's for men and women, to be honest.
Okay, you're teaching me something that I didn't know. Yeah, like genuinely. So normally, I'm going to ask you advice now. Normally, I would just have 2 Weetabix and blueberries for breakfast. But so go. So yeah, like okay. So tell me. I will be a guinea pig, and I will, hand on heart, whatever you tell me I should be having for breakfast, I will make a change. And you can ask me in a couple of months, and I will be honest about, has it made a positive impact on me?
Awesome. I will send you my protein rich breakfast PDF with some inspiration in. But basically, there is nothing but wheat and sugar in your Weetabix. And so the carbohydrates, all carbohydrates turn sugar into your blood. So even carbohydrates in a piece of broccoli, right? They will eventually be sugar in your blood. So in that Weetabix, there is nothing but sugar, essentially, and a tiny bit of fiber. Your blueberries, great. Lots of good things to say about the blueberries. But there's almost zero protein or fat in that breakfast. So protein and fat will dampen the impact of the carbs. So if you really love your Weetabix and you still want to keep them, keep the Weetabix, but you want to be having at least 150, 200 grams of Greek yogurt on top of that Weetabix.
Okay.
Or almost like a lot of seeds or nuts or something that's got more protein or fat in it. So ideal breakfast would be Greek yogurt. It's got to be proper Greek yogurt, not Greek style. It's not got as much protein in. with your berries. Awesome, great start to the day with berries, lots of polyphenols, lots of things that are really anti-inflammatory and great for your brain. But with some nuts and seeds, that's like a really simple one. Eggs, if you like them.
I like eggs, yeah.
Brilliant breakfast, but you've got to eat at least 3 of them, and also stick a spoonful of cottage cheese on, because otherwise you still only got, now protein needs are different per person, but if you can try and get up to 30 grams at breakfast, it's a good aim, at least over 20, whereas for you at the moment you've probably got about 3 or 4 grams of protein in that breakfast. Sorry, some in the good. So eggs are great. A lot of people ask me about porridge, and now oats are wonderful, they're a great food, but actually they can be quite blood sugar spiking in many people. So if you really love porridge and you have porridge in the morning, please God add some plain pea protein powder, or if not, at least some nut butter, some nuts, some seeds, to negate the impact of the oats rising your blood sugar. So everybody always goes, it's all right, I have porridge for breakfast. And then I sometimes work with people who'll put a continuous glucose monitor on their arm, which, they're not perfect, but they're quite good from a pattern perspective. And then that will be usually the one that's most shocking. They'll be like, my porridge sends my blood sugar through the roof. And I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. Not helped by the sort of tablespoon of maple syrup and dates that you put on it as well. So, those are your breakfast choices. Or, I can't be doing with these. They taste like wallpaper paste to me, but lots of nutritionists will sell you the sort of chia seed pots and stuff, and overnight oats with loads of chia seeds and stuff in. They just taste like wallpaper paste to me, but that's just a personal thing. You might like them. Or I do, again, some nutritionists are a bit snobby about protein powders. And actually, there are some absolutely shockingly awful ones on the market. But some of the plain pea protein powder is absolutely fine to have. It's made from peas. And actually, so for example, this morning, very easily, I had 30 grams of protein from, this is going to sound ridiculous, I essentially had a chocolate and banana milkshake for breakfast. So I had half a banana, half an avocado, some coconut milk, the pea protein powder, and a big tablespoon of raw cacao powder. And that was my breakfast, and it was delicious. And I'm still full, and it's 1:45. I haven't eaten anything else.
Well, you're teaching me a lot. And to be honest, you are. And I always thought I ate quite well. So it's actually really intuitive to get to know a little bit more. And I promise you, after this call, I will make the change. I'm going to go and buy some real Greek yogurt, and I will have Greek yogurt with my blueberries in the morning. So let's try it. What is your other hard stop?
Oh yeah, other hard stops. Okay, so this is quite a hilarious one as well. If I am right, so I love ice cream, right? Like that is my sweet cheap treat of choice. And if I'm on holiday, I'm having ice cream, frankly. So, but my partner's got used to this now. But I think when we first met, he was like, "Oh my Jesus, what is she doing?" If I'm going to have an ice cream, I actually have some almonds or Brazil nuts or something before it. And again, because I personally know that my insulin function is a bit rubbish. My blood sugar management is genetically rubbish. And if I have an ice cream on an empty stomach, I am like flying through the roof, which means that half an hour later I'll be crashing. However, if I have some nuts before it, no bother.
It's that balancing it out.
Yeah, it just slows that sugar response, and you might have a genetically better insulin response than I do. I am predisposed to type 2 diabetes, so I know that because I know my genetics. But yeah, so that's one of the other things I do. And then what else do I do? Absolutely no snacking after dinner. So I have my dinner, I finish my dinner, whatever that is, even if if it's included something that you might think is not that healthy. But I'll try and finish my dinner by at least 6:30, 7 at the latest. And then I do not eat until breakfast. I'm not into big, long fasts. But one of the worst things you can do for your digestion and for lots of inflammation in your body is to sort of be snacking up till bedtime and not give your body that at least 12 to 14 hour rest overnight.
Okay.
And the reason for this is because you've got this, I like to think of him like a caretaker pushing a broom through your system. It's called the migrating motor complex caretaker, in short. And he can't start work until you've stopped eating.
How do you know it's a he?
Good point. I don't. Very sexy. Do you know why? Because I still remember my caretaker at school, And that was
so that's your association. That's your association. Yeah.
Yeah, he was such a lovely chap, and he did have a broom that he swept through. So that's how I think of it. But so if I'm tempted, so what I do after dinner, and it's really, really simple, but honestly, it really works. Brush your teeth. Brush your teeth when you finish your dinner. You don't. Then your body goes, okay, I'm done eating for the day. Now, if you want herbal tea, fine, have a herbal tea. That's fine. They don't taste so nice if you've brushed your teeth. But that is a hard rule for me. I do not eat after dinner. Whereas so many people I meet probably haven't eaten enough during the day, so they are genuinely hungry. Come like
and
night,
then they end up
and then they
eating,
snack, and invariably it's usually a crap snack as well.
and then you don't give your body 12 hours to recover. You don't get So it's all basically, you can see it, can't you? You can see that basically there's a pattern. And to be fair, I'm about being real as well. And I think if you're doing it 5 nights out of 7, that's better than doing it no nights out of 7, isn't it?
Oh, 100%. And obviously, if you've gone out for dinner or something and a lovely
it's totally different.
Clearly you're not going to go, oh, right, hang on, got to stop now. But, the sort of general habits of general everyday life. And it really helps people sleep better as well, usually, unless you've got blood sugar problems, and then you may need a protein-rich snack before bed, but that's way too detailed for this conversation. But and then to be fair, the other one is exercise for my sanity. That's a hard stop for me. Like literally, that is a non-negotiable. I am going to my kettlebell class unless literally, teenage son, your leg is falling off. That sort of thing.
But I think as well, that when you take a step back, you realise how much your mental health is improved by exercising, the daylight, probably even just the nutrition, putting good stuff into your body. You're actually getting a lot more out of your body. Your body functions a lot better. Your body is performing a lot better, and your body is getting a lot of the stuff that it needs, and optimizes the whole system, doesn't it? All of it goes hand in hand, and it's all about. And for me, I think it's not about trying to be perfect, because I don't believe anything's perfect. It's all about making little positive steps and little positive changes. And, it may well be that I'll go and buy the Greek yogurt and I'll have my Weetabix
with
3 days, or my Weetabix with it. Yeah, exactly. And it's about, compromising and finding a way that is sustainable and manageable for yourself, isn't it? And I think that's a question I'd just like to ask you, because a lot of the things that you see around these days are all about overnight success, and all about do this and do that. And, it's all like quick fixes and do this diet and do that. And I'm a great believer in longevity and making changes that last, and I want to know your view on that, really.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The people that come to work with me one-to-one, most of them have got fairly complex issues that have taken 25 years before. Do you know what I mean? Some people have been suffering from IBS for literally 20, 30 years, or they've had acid reflux for 10 years, or they've had, or they've been feeling absolutely knackered for 3 years. Like, these are all things that have gradually got worse over the years. They are not going to be resolved overnight. And so, however, I must admit that as soon as you do start linking up the systems and your symptoms with actually the root cause, you can start feeling better actually really quite soon. But to obviously achieve the benefits from a longevity perspective, the consistency is important. But like you said, 80% of the time, I only ever ask 80% from my clients. I never expect, and also I give them the important thing from a longevity perspective is to be able to still put some of the things will help you into place even when life is busy. And that's what's important for longevity. So for example, when my partner and I have got a standoff about who's going to the shops, because I absolutely hate shopping.
Let me ask, who wins the standoff more times than not?
Then so there are nights when genuinely for my dinner I've had like a Baby Bell, an apple, and a protein shake, because that was the best. But I still had at least 30 to 40 grams of protein. I still had what variation of fibre there was possible left in the fridge. Do you know what I mean? It's those sorts of do the best you can with what you've got that will give you the longevity. Kind of just going, because actually, at that point, I could have gone, oh, I'll just get a Chinese.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah. And so don't get me wrong, I love an Indian takeaway every so often, but like if I did that every time there was nothing to eat in our fridge, I'd be a very different person right now. So, you know, I think that's the thing for me with longevity is it's the habits that you manage to develop that you do 80% of the time, as well as all of the other technical stuff. Like I often talk about, people sort of say to me, oh, what's the sort of, you know, 3 things that you must do for health? And yes, blood sugar balance is one of them, but sorting out anything that's wrong with your digestion is the other one. If you've got constipation or diarrhea or acid reflux or bloating, any of those 4 things, you are not absorbing stuff from your food. So no matter how great your diet might be, there's going to be some nutrient sort of non-absorption, and B, you're not getting rid necessarily of the toxins that from chemical reactions that just happen every second in your body. So that's another massive thing for longevity. Don't just accept dodgy digestion. Sure,
Yeah,
it's not the best strapline, but it's really true. People get so used to just living with stuff and going, well, that's just me. I've got a sensitive stomach. And I'm like, no, because for example, then when you're like 55, 60, you could have way more like osteoporotic bones, for example. You might have much more brittle bones because you've had a lifetime of lack of calcium absorption and lack of magnesium absorption because you've never dealt with your acid reflux, you know? So it's that sort of thing. It's like, that's the longevity piece for me, is that don't just think about it, don't just go accept it as normal.
And it's not necessarily the here and now, it's dealing for the future. It's basically it's looking after yourself. It's basically putting yourself first, and it's basically setting yourself up for as long a life as possible, isn't it?
It is. And all of this, I can't tell you how many people I get messaging me, friends included, to be fair, with the latest supplement that is gonna, you know, take away their wrinkles or help them live to 120 or suddenly change their cognitive function, all of this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, but you're still, you know, you're still eating crap and you're like all the time, and you're still drinking a lot, and you're still like, please don't waste your money on expensive supplements unless absolutely everything else is in place, because there is literally no point. You are just creating expensive wee and poo.
Yeah, because effectively, and that is so true, because everybody looks for that quick fix, don't they? Everybody wants that overnight success where they can take a magic pill and all of a sudden, you know, it's all fixed. Whatever it is, it's all fixed. And let's be real. It takes a bit of dedication, a bit of discipline, and a bit of structure and setting things up, you know, and you do see the benefits, and you will reap the rewards in the long term and the longevity. And I think that's why it's so important. It's just making those small steps of beginning to look after yourself in every single way that you can, mentally, physically, what you're putting into your body. You know, it's all so combined, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think one of the things, like when I do sort of talks or workshops with corporates and organisations that are taking their employee wellbeing really seriously, like what's really interesting about that is people will go, oh, I've got another talk by a nutritionist or whatever, and they'll think, oh, she's going to tell me to eat more vegetables and drink more water. Shock. But actually, in my talks, I'm like, right, this is literally what is happening in your body. This is why this matters. And these are the really easy things that you can do that will make that easy for you. So why would you not do it? And people come out going, oh, right, yeah, never had it explained like that before. That's actually not that hard, is it? I could do that. And I think that sort of goes back to the beginning question that you asked me. You know, when I was trying to find help for myself, I was just like, and I mean, this was, you know, I guess I'm old now. There wasn't even really much social media influencing, but there was a lot of, you know, magazine articles. In the olden days, we had things printed, and there was so much fluff in that, and there was so much, you know, oh well, you're going to need to lead this absolutely sort of nun-like diet, and you're going to, you know, and I would just be like, oh, come on, it wasn't real. And I think that's the thing with the longevity piece and putting people first. You've got to make it easy. And once you understand that you really can make this easy, and no, it doesn't mean you can never have a glass, of your favourite drink or some chocolate or some cake or whatever your choice is. Doesn't mean that at all, but put these habits in and you will feel so much better.
Yeah. And I think that is the biggest thing and the most important thing. It's all about balance. It's all about, basically getting into a good routine, isn't it? And it's all about beginning to look after yourself, because I'm going to take it a step back and say we are great as human beings at looking after our children, friends, and family. The piece of the puzzle that we are rubbish at, and I certainly learned the hard way, was looking after myself. And the more of us can start looking after ourselves, actually, the more that everyone else around us will benefit. And we'll continue to benefit, because they will be getting a better version of ourselves than we were previously. And that's the hard bit of changing people's mindsets, to go, well, actually, if you're a business and you are looking after your staff like this, you're going to get a better return. You're going to have happier people. You're going to be getting a better version of that person. If you're an individual wanting to look after yourself, everyone else is going to get a better version of yourself. And that's the change that needs to, and it is slowly beginning to come.
It is. But I think sort of practically, like if I think about one of the organisations I've done quite a lot of one-to-one work with, so I've done some talks, but I've also been in and done half-an-hour sessions with lots of the staff, confidentially, but interestingly, just a tiny example, probably about half the staff I met had got some sort of digestive trouble. And that, because of the impact on the gut microbiome, was impacting on how happy they were, because they were less able, because they can't make as many neurotransmitters that keep you happy, which is another thing that your protein at breakfast will help you with, actually.
You stimulate me with, like, when you say stuff like neurotransmitters, I'm going, oh, this sounds good. What can I do now? What am I switching more switches on in the morning then?
Well, yeah, because basically neurotransmitters, the raw material that makes things like dopamine and GABA and adrenaline, is protein. So if you haven't got enough of it, like literally you need protein you need the amino acids in protein to make serotonin. So if you haven't got enough, it literally is the as much as, I want to say I've been jumping on the protein bandwagon for a lot longer than it's been put in, like, ice cream, for example. But, you literally won't get enough. But sorry, just back to that example, because it's quite a good one.
Yeah, go on.
I probably met 80 or so of the staff there, which was probably about a third of the staff, one-to-one. And so much of, clearly not for every individual person was this the case, but they had a real culture of nobody took a proper lunch break. Everybody sat in front of their computer with their sandwich or whatever it was, doing their emails, and still were eating at the same time. It was such a cultural thing. Like, it was properly frowned upon to leave your desk and go for a walk for 20 minutes or whatever. And it sounds so basic, but I kid you not, I have discussed this in a sort of, with the people sort of not in charge of culture, everyone's in charge of culture, but you know what I mean, with a wider company organisation. And they are now making that change, that cultural change to, it's okay to walk away from your desk for 20 minutes, go and sit down and eat. I hate the word mindfully, but it is kind of the case. Because actually, if you wolf your food down when you are not concentrating, that is a surefire way to bloating and potentially acid reflux. Doesn't matter if there's not anything physiologically wrong with you, you're it's like a digestive domino run, like those ones that you flick and they all then go into
Yeah. Everything clicks into place.
And it starts about what you're going to eat. Then your saliva starts, which kicks off your stomach acid, which kicks off your pancreatic acid and your bile, which then once it gets to your gut, it's all properly broken down. If you skip any of those steps, which you do if you're just like doing an email, received a stressful message, never mind, but I'll have a bite of my sandwich. If you skip that, you're skipping these bits here, these first bits, your digestive domino, and you are going to get bloating. You are going to get pain. You are going to get, and that then long term for that employer is not good to have a whole organisation who are perhaps going to have to take more time off work because of their digestive issues, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really basic example, but it's one where actually it's been quite interesting to watch now how that it's only gradual, because those sorts of cultural norms take a long time to change, right? But it's making a difference, and that's so lovely.
Yeah, but short-term pain of making that initial change and putting it all in place and rolling it out and getting it everybody used to it, will get long-term benefits so much.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, listen, I could chat to you all day, literally. honestly, no, honestly, I could chat to you all day. I find all this stuff fascinating because it's all about empowering, whether it's a company or whether it's an individual. It's all about empowering people to actually start looking after themselves, and that is the most important thing in life for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so happy to have you on Circle.
Thank you, me too.
So yeah, I'm so happy that we've partnered up, and I think that you will get a lot of people reaching out to you off the back of this. You'll get a lot of people reaching out to you and wanting to connect with you and learn more. So I'm not going to ask you to tell anybody anything else, because I think you've shared so much. And it's been a pleasure. It's been absolute lovely to chat to you. And I just wanted to say a big thank you. And if anybody wants to know more, basically you can get in touch through Circle. We've got you've got your own landing page set up now, everything, so everybody can fill out all the details, get in contact with you, and basically, over to you, really. Go and do your thing and go and help so many more people. And we'll touch base in a month or so and see how my yogurt eating's going.
I am looking forward to that. I want you to make a note of, do you have more energy? Are you less slumping at are you less hangry at 11 a.m.? I really.
Yeah, I will. I'll do it because stuff like this fascinates me. So I will do it.